Imagine stepping into a city deliberately crafted by an empire, a place just brimming with stories etched in every palace and canal.
Mm-hmm.
That's St. Petersburg, our subject for this deep dive.
Right.
You told us you're keen to quickly grasp the heart of significant places, and, well, this deep dive aims to do just that. We want to extract the essential insights into what makes this Venice of the North so compelling.
Exactly. We're going to explore the core of St. Petersburg's narrative, really focusing on the key features and, the historical moments that define its unique character.
Think of it as distilling the essence.
Yeah, the essence of this extraordinary city for you.
Perfect. Our goal is to give you a clear, engaging, and concise understanding of St. Petersburg's distinct identity, its lasting historical impact, and maybe the reasons it continues to fascinate. So let's dive right in. The foundation, the idea behind this grand city, it wasn't just built, it was envisioned, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The establishment of St. Petersburg in 1703 by Peter the Great was, well, it was far more than just laying bricks and mortar.
Right.
It was a bold declaration of intent. He conceived it specifically as Russia's window to the West.
A window to the West.
Yes, a thoroughly modern metropolis designed to emulate the sophistication of European capitals. He was looking particularly at Italy and France for inspiration in the urban planning.
It's quite something to picture a city as like a strategic initiative almost. And the decision to move the capital from Moscow, that must have sent ripples, right? What were the immediate effects?
Huge ripples. The relocation wasn't just geographical, it was a powerful symbolic break with Russia's past. Peter the Great was determined, absolutely determined, to pull Russia into the European sphere, its trade, its culture, its politics. Moving the center of power to St. Petersburg, a city literally facing the West, was a very tangible manifestation of this ambition. And for nearly 2 centuries, it served as the engine room of the Russian Empire.
The engine room.
Yeah, the stage for countless pivotal events that really shaped the nation.
So the very blueprint of the city, the layout, was infused with this forward-looking European aspiration.
Precisely. Unlike the more, organic development of older Russian cities, which kind of grew over time.
Right, winding streets and such.
Exactly. St. Petersburg was intentionally designed with these grand, wide avenues, Nevsky Prospekt being the most famous, of course, and elegant squares, and a really distinctive network of canals laid out in a more structured grid. Peter himself was deeply involved in the planning.
He really got hands-on.
Oh, yes. Ensuring it reflected the modernity and, frankly, the grandeur he'd seen in Western Europe.
And those canals you mentioned, 93 miles, over 300 bridges. That's just staggering. That engineering definitely fueled the comparisons to Venice and Amsterdam, didn't it?
It really did. And what's compelling is how integral the canals were to Peter's vision right from the start.
So not just practical.
Not just practical, though they were crucial for transport in what was originally marshy land. But they were also designed to enhance the city's beauty, to create a certain atmosphere, even helping with drainage and defense. Very much so. And then you have the drawbridges, which add this unique element of spectacle, especially during the famed White Nights.
Ah, the White Nights. Late May to mid-July, is that right? When the sun barely sets. How does that near-perpetual daylight change the city's feel?
It creates this incredible energy. There's a vibrancy that just lasts late into the night, And the light itself, it's soft, diffused. It lends this almost magical quality to the architecture and the waterways.
I can imagine.
Watching the illuminated drawbridges rise against that pale sky, it's an unforgettable experience. It's when the city truly shows off its unique beauty.
Beyond its remarkable layout, St. Petersburg holds this esteemed title, Russia's cultural capital. How did that come about? What historical factors built up that rich artistic heritage?
Well, being the imperial capital for so long was key. It naturally attracted the finest artists, architects, writers, musicians, you name it.
The talent flock there.
Exactly. The patronage of the czars fostered this incredibly thriving cultural scene, and that led directly to the establishment of world-renowned institutions. Think of the Mariinsky Theatre.
A powerhouse for ballet and opera.
A historic powerhouse, absolutely. And then, of course, the incomparable Hermitage Museum. These weren't just buildings. They became living centers of artistic innovation and preservation.
Okay, let's focus on some of these key landmarks then. The Hermitage Museum, housed within the Winter Palace. If someone wants just a snapshot of its significance, what are the absolute must-knows?
Okay, the Hermitage. Think of it as a condensed history of global art and culture, all under one incredibly opulent roof.
The Winter Palace roof?
Precisely, the former home of the czars. The sheer scale is just breathtaking, over 3 million pieces.
3 million.
It spans centuries, continents, and it's not just quantity, it's the quality. You can stand inches away from masterpieces by Leonardo da Vinci, Rembrandt, Picasso, then turn a corner and find ancient Egyptian sarcophagi or Greek statues.
So it's truly global, not just Russian art.
Oh, definitely a global panorama. And the Winter Palace itself, that building, designed by Bartolomeo Rastrelli, you mentioned, that ornate Baroque style. What does its architecture tell us? It tells us a lot about the era. The Winter Palace, with its lavish ornamentation, its grand scale,
Yeah.
it's a powerful statement of imperial ambition and, frankly, wealth.
Projecting power.
Absolutely. The Baroque style, with all its emphasis on drama and grandeur, was absolutely intended to project an image of power and sophistication, both to foreign visitors and to the city's own people.
Yes.
Stepping inside rooms like the Malachite Room or climbing the Jordan staircase, it gives you a really tangible sense of the opulence, the ceremony that defined imperial life.
Then we have the Church of the Savior on Spilled Blood. That exterior is so striking, so colorful. What's the story behind that very distinctive look?
It's vividly colored onion domes and that intricate detailing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they take it instantly recognizable, almost like St. Basil's in Moscow, but unique. But its beauty is sort of intertwined with a tragic event. It actually marks the spot where Emperor Alexander II was assassinated back in 1881.
Ah, hence the name.
Exactly. And the design, which is in the Russian Revival style, deliberately echoes earlier periods of Russian architecture, perhaps as a way to, connect with a perceived era of national strength and identity after a time of upheaval.
A visual anchor to history.
Uh,
And the inside is just as remarkable, I hear.
Oh, absolutely. Inside, virtually every single surface, walls, ceilings, pillars, is covered in incredibly detailed mosaics.
Every surface.
Just about. Over 7,500 square meters of them. It's an astonishing display of artistic craftsmanship. It creates this incredibly rich, immersive visual experience. You're just surrounded by it.
Okay, moving just outside the city now. Peterhof Palace. It's often called the Russian Versailles. What was Peter the Great aiming for when he created this estate?
Peterhof was a direct manifestation of Peter's ambition, not just to modernize Russia, but also to really demonstrate its power and cultural standing on the European stage.
Keeping up with the Joneses, or the Louis XIVs.
Sort of. By creating an estate that could genuinely rival the splendor of Versailles, he was making a very clear statement about Russia's arrival, its sophistication. The Grand Palace, the extensive lower gardens, with their hundreds of fountains, gilded statues, meticulously planned layouts, it was all designed purely to impress.
And that grand cascade, 64 fountains, gilded statues. It sounds like a true spectacle of engineering and art.
It truly is. The Grand Cascade is the absolute centerpiece, a breathtaking display of waterworks and sculptural artistry. But honestly, the entire estate is filled with these elaborate fountains, elegant pavilions, incredible landscaped gardens.
And the palace interiors.
Also stunning. From the throne room to the ballroom, the picture hall. They showcase the evolving tastes of the Russian court over time, blending Baroque and later neoclassical styles. Really opulent.
Right. Coming back into the city center, St. Isaac's Cathedral with that massive golden dome, another icon. What's the essence of its historical and architectural significance?
St. Isaac's, completed in the 19th century, was just a monumental undertaking. It was the largest cathedral in Russia at the time it was built.
The largest.
Yep. Its neoclassical design conveys this real sense of solidity, grandeur, reflecting the power and prestige of the Russian Empire in that era. And the scale of that dome, covered in real gold leaf, makes it totally dominant on the city's skyline. You can't miss it.
And I understand the interior details are equally impressive. Marble columns, mosaics, frescoes. Plus, you can go up the dome for a view.
You can. And the view from the colonnade around the dome offers a unique perspective on St. Petersburg.
What does that vantage point really show you about the city's planning?
It gives you a fantastic overview of that deliberate layout we talked about. You can clearly see the grid of the streets, the way the Neva River winds through, the strategic placement of key buildings like the Winter Palace, the Admiralty, the Peter and Paul Fortress. It really underscores the intentionality behind Peter the Great's original urban design.
Okay, and no exploration of St. Petersburg is complete without talking about Nevsky Prospekt,
Yeah.
the city's most famous street. What makes it so central to the city's identity?
Nevsky Prospekt is, well, it's more than just a street. It's the city's main artery. It's social and cultural spine, you could say.
The heart of it all.
Pretty much. Conceived by Peter the Great as the Grand Avenue, it's lined with this remarkable mix of architectural styles, imperial palaces, grand cathedrals like Kazan Cathedral with its distinctive colonnade,
Impressive.
as well as bustling shops, cafes, restaurants. Landmarks like the Anishkov Bridge with its powerful horse sculptures are right there. It's really a place where the city's history is palpably present, but it's interwoven with the rhythm of modern life. People live and work and shop there today.
And for performing arts lovers, the Mariinsky Theatre. Legendary status, especially in ballet.
Yeah.
What makes its contribution so significant?
The Mariinsky?
Yeah.
It's been a crucible, really, of Russian ballet for over a century and a half, since 1860. It has nurtured generations of truly iconic dancers. Think Anna Pavlova, Nijinsky, later Baryshnikov. Its productions have consistently set the standard for classical ballet worldwide. Attending a performance there isn't just, an evening at the theater.
It's more than that.
It's an experience steeped in incredible artistic tradition and excellence. It still houses one of the world's leading ballet companies.
Finally, let's touch on the very origin point.
Okay.
The Fortress of Peter and Paul. What was its initial purpose, and how has it evolved?
Right. The Fortress of Peter and Paul, situated on Zaiki Island, Hare Island, marks the very spot where St. Petersburg was founded, the first structure built.
The birthplace.
Exactly. Initially, it was conceived as a military stronghold, meant to protect the nascent city during the Great Northern War with Sweden. But its role changed. It later served as a notorious prison for political dissidents, and most significantly, perhaps, as the Imperial burial site.
Right. The Peter and Paul Cathedral within the fortress holds the tombs of most of the Russian emperors. Peter the Great, Catherine the Great, even Nicholas II.
That's right. It provides this incredibly direct, tangible connection to the individuals who literally shaped the Russian Empire. The fortress complex itself now houses various museums that tell the story of the city's beginnings, its imperial past. And the walls offer some impressive views back across the Neva River. Gives you a real sense of perspective on how the city grew from this initial stronghold.
It really seems that despite, or maybe alongside this incredibly rich imperial history, St. Petersburg also embraces a very contemporary, modern spirit. How does that show itself today?
It absolutely does. While the city is deeply respectful of its heritage, it's also a vibrant, forward-looking place. You see this really clearly in the transformation of spaces like New Holland Island.
Oh, was that originally?
It was a former naval facility, shipyards and warehouses. Now it's been completely reimagined as this thriving cultural and recreational hub with parks, galleries, performance spaces. And the energy of the city is also reflected in its dynamic food scene, particularly on streets like Rubinstein Street, which is just packed with restaurants and bars offering this huge range of culinary experiences. Traditional Russian, yes, but lots of international influences too.
So St. Petersburg really embodies this fascinating duality then. A city where the echoes of imperial grandeur resonate right alongside a contemporary, innovative pulse.
Precisely. It's a place where history isn't just something locked away in museums. It's genuinely woven into the fabric of daily life. It influences the city's atmosphere, its cultural output. It's like a continuous dialogue between the past and the present.
Okay, so to quickly summarize what we've covered, St. Petersburg was fundamentally a city intentionally created to bridge Russia and Europe. It's a treasure trove of culture packed with pivotal history, its unique waterways, that stunning, very deliberate architecture, and its enduring artistic legacy. These are really its defining characteristics. Hopefully this deep dive has given everyone listening a clear and insightful overview of this remarkable city, providing those key aha moments and a solid understanding of its essence without getting bogged down in excessive detail.
Absolutely. And considering St. Petersburg's deliberate creation as this forward-looking city, it maybe prompts a final thought for our listeners to mull over.
Go on.
How do you think that initial vision, that original ambition to connect with and learn from the West, how does that continue to shape St. Petersburg's identity and perhaps its role on the global stage today? Something to think about.